Growing up in the Southwest, I knew that we were different. Spain and Latin America shaped our culture. We ate different foods and spoke differently from the rest of the parts of the United States. For over 20 years, I've studied Spain's impact on the indigenous and colonial Americas. What I've found are the forgotten lives that shaped the continent's history. If Forgotten Lives of Latin America interest you, then like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel in the bio. Let's begin. Today's question is, who was Cabeza de Vaca, and did he conquer the interior of what is now the U.S.? In 1527, 6 years after Ponce de Leon died, remember Juan Ponce de Leon, he tried but failed to colonize Florida, another expedition sailed from Cuba to settle La Florida, what the Spanish then called the vast area that would one day become the United States, under the leadership of Pánfilo de Narváez. The expedition was a disaster. Storms, starvation, and attacks wiped out most of the crew. A hurricane wrecked their ships and stranded them near Tampa Bay. Months later, with food running low, Pánfilo de Narváez could have turned back for Cuba, but he didn't. He ordered his men to build rafts and push forward, convinced that he would find an indigenous empire in La Florida rivaling that of the Aztecs, whose capital of Tenochtitlan he himself had seen fall in 1521. Cabeza de Vaca disagreed, and for years would say that they should have turned back for Cuba. In 1528, drifting along the Gulf Coast, a second hurricane struck near present-day Mobile. This hurricane took the lives of Captain Pánfilo de Narváez with about 400 of his crew. The few survivors included Cabeza de Vaca, Alonso del Castillo Maldonado, Andrés Dorantes de Carranza, and Esteban, an enslaved man from northern Africa. Stranded on Padre Island near Galveston, the storm had torn away everything, even their clothes. Reduced to nothing, they soon became prisoners of the Caddo residents, whose warriors had no trouble capturing them. Cabeza de Vaca and his companions failed as conquerors, but through fascinating twists, they would survive for years as castaways. Today, as debates rage over immigration from Spanish-speaking countries, it's worth remembering Cabeza de Vaca and his companions spoke Spanish in Texas and the Southeast long before the British even dreamed of Plymouth Rock. In the next part of this reel, I'll show how the four survived and walked across the continent to the Pacific coast of Mexico. If you're from Texas, the Southwest, or northern Mexico, maybe you wondered about these topics. At a time when voices flood media with competing histories, I bring a fresh perspective on the past of the Americas. For more, Ciro Adorno's two-volume set, Alvar Núñez, Cabeza de Vaca, his account, his life, and the expedition of Pánfilo de Narváez. And if you read Spanish, check out Carlos Jaregui's article, Cabeza de Vaca, Mala Cosa y las vicisitudes de la extrañeza. See you soon.